So yeah, I run into the same situation.
You guys need anything else?
No,
I'm good, thank you.
So like I was saying, I developed these rules when I first got the AFib. And
When did you find out you had it?
oh, so I went to district championship road race, had a good race, came back, and since that was a goal race of mine, I took a couple days off to recover and and start up again. And then when I went out with some teammates. We did an easy ride, and I just couldn't keep up with them. And they're going easy up bubblegum, and I'm just falling back. So eventually I said to myself, something's going wrong here.
Yeah.
So I went back and then made an appointment with the doctor, and the rest is history with that. So then
So it was continuous at that point. It didn't go away.
Correct. It stayed. So I had to get an electrical cardioversion.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Yeah, I had two of those actually. One that year, and then the next year after the same race.
Same thing?
Same thing, yeah.
So it's after a really hard exertion.
Well,
It'll kick in. Because that's when I get it. When I do like a big race or something, I notice the next day or at that night when I go to sleep, I wake up with it.
I think in this case, it had to do with just accumulated bad habits.
Oh.
And so I wasn't a caffeine drinker until 9 months before the incident, where I discovered monster drinks that would keep me awake during drive back, that type of thing.
Yep.
And then it would keep me awake. And so I thought, this is great.
So it's the caffeine.
So that it just kicked it over the edge, I think, because I think
Okay.
the problem was created from before.
Got it.
So as back to no caffeine and no long distance work.
No long distance?
Yeah, no long distance, because I was doing double centuries, and I would race them.
But you do century still. That's considered long distance.
I worked my
But
way
for
up.
you, doubles.
Yeah, I started off with not doing anything over 3 hours, and so then I built up, and then riding with Natalia and her training, then that and then basically I was just riding her wheel. That showed me that I maybe can. So that's why I am doing this as kind of an experiment.
Good.
I can't race it though. I have to just endurance it.
And how many years ago was this? When it
8 years.
8
8 years, yeah. So, but I wanted to keep racing, so that's what I saw if I could try, and fortunately I could.
Great.
So,
Good.
so the sleep and the fatigue factor, I had to treat fatigue differently. Anyway, so these rules. So now that one rule with the long distance is changing, because it seems like I only have two cases where I fall into AFib. One is I stimulate my vagus nerve inappropriately, and I've done that once and almost a second time. And the other is where I've got hit a number of times with this. If I don't get enough sleep, and let's say I got to go to work, and then that's
critical, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily one bad night of sleep, although it could be. And it could be like 2 nights in a row, and then this weird fatigue that I have associated with that, or that seems to creep up. That combination gets me into AFib.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I'm hoping those are the only two incidences, so that's why I'm trying the long distance stuff.
Interesting. I have a lot of similarities with what you're saying.
Right.
But mine, I think, started back when I was in my 30s.
Yes.
But mine would come and go on its own, and I didn't know what it was. So I went and saw the doctor, and he said, "Oh, you got a hiatal hernia. You just got heartburn."
Okay.
Because it would come and go, and then they went down and said, "Oh, you need Nexium," and then the Nexium made it worse because that it's another drug with side effects.
Right.
And then it over time it got worse and worse, and during COVID it became persistent. Like what you just kicked in and never went away. And I said, there's something wrong. So I went in and finally saw a cardiologist, and they said, yeah, you have AFib. We're going to have to cardiovert you. They cardioverted me, and then it came back 2 days later.
Okay.
And it seemed to be triggered by my vagus, because whenever I ate large meals.
Yes.
Or I eat the spicy foods, so I no longer eat spicy foods, and especially caffeine. And I used to not drink caffeine until I got in my 30s. And I think that's when because I had these bouts in my 30s when I would work out really hard on.
You hear that, caffeine drinkers?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then because I never drank caffeine until I was like in my early 30s, and then everybody at work was drinking it, so I started drinking it, and it affected me really strongly. I noticed I was like shaking my first cup, But now finally I'm in my mid 50s, and it became persistent, and now cardioverted, And then I tried the flaconide like you did, where I would
Okay.
just take it when I need it.
Uh-huh.
But mine was so persistent that I needed to take the flaconide every day. So I do it twice a day. He started me on 100, and then he bumped me to 150 twice a day.
I have a teammate actually that had his Afib started, I think, when he was 17. And he finally got a, come and go type of thing.
Yeah.
Or he could live with it, younger, I guess.
It's hard
But-
to identify it too.
Yeah, yes, at least maybe back then too. But at age 45, and he's, I'm guessing like 60 now. Age 45, he got an ablation.
Oh,
He's been
okay.
fine with it. Yeah, just
Oh,
the
good.
one. Yeah.
Just one ablation.
Just one ablation. Yeah.
I wonder if it's different for different people, like for athletes like me and you. I wonder if they have a different technique for where they ablate versus people who have different types of symptoms. I don't know.
I'm going to guess that it has to do with how we got there.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So if you're doing a lot of training and a lot of hard training and consistent with that and not paying attention to fatigue like I was doing,
yeah.
then it's you may just develop a little scar tissue on the heart where the
Where the
electrical
wires-
impulse, where the electrical impulse maybe
Yeah.
just slows up. You may develop hot spots of a different type. I don't know,
Yeah.
which can create the problem. So yeah, who knows? As opposed to someone, let's say that has high blood pressure and this has some other sort of pressure put on the heart,
Yeah.
which causes it to react in a certain way.
Yeah, and I do take blood pressure meds. So I've been because I have polycystic kidney disease my whole life.
Okay.
And I actually had to have both kidneys removed in my early 30s.
Okay.
And my sister donated me a kidney, so I was on dialysis for 6 months.
Okay.
But this was all before I had the symptoms of Afib.
All right.
And then after I got my transplant, I'm like, I need to get back into shape. And I think that's when it started kicking in. But I had a lot of predisposition with a lot of other weird things going on
Are you
with my
taking
kidneys.
Are you taking any anti-immune drugs
Yes,
still?
I am. Very low dose, so no prednisone. I just take Prograf, a very low dose of Prograf, and then one other that's very low.
Ah, okay. Okay.
But I do take immunosuppressants.
Okay, still all right. At what age did you get that kidney?
When I was about 35
Okay.
is when I got the transplant. So it was a really aggressive form of
Yeah.
polycystic kidney disease that I had. It's genetic.
Right.
And I'm in better shape now than I was before I
Yeah.
had the kidney problems. But
I always say that you have to be in your best shape in your last decade, as best you can.
yeah.
So you can just drop one day and then that's it.
Yeah, there you go. And you enjoy your life.
Yes, exactly.
But that's some great tips you gave me about because sometimes I can go a week or two without any Afib symptoms, and the trigger is like you said, if I really push myself on a long endurance ride, 6 or 7 hours, and I really push it, like I did a 100-miler over at Lighthouse, and I was pushing to get a lot of PRs up the hills,
Okay.
and then when I came back the first day next week, it kicked back in again, and I'm like, I wonder if it had to do because I was eating right. I didn't have any caffeine, and then it kicked in. And so it's like all these little things that can trigger it, And when I don't do an all-out workout, I'm good. It's just, when I really push
Right.
hard, usually the next day or two, it kicks in.
And that was key for me in training for this double because I didn't know I was going to do the double
No
until
problem.
I didn't know that I was going to do this double until.
You are gonna do it.
Yeah, I am going to do it. Yes.
Do it, the Grizzly double?
No. I mean Bass Lake.
Bass Lake double, yeah.
Yes. So.
That's great.
And so I had to jump in my training evenly each week, but I only had a small amount of time, and I can only do that because I was training with doing Natalia's training from before, and on the long stuff. I mean, I went like 10 hours on the bike type
Wow.
of thing, and but keeping it even. I wasn't going for PRs like
Yeah. So you're keeping it at a good gradual pace. You're not spiking yourself and really killing yourself. in certain
Correct,
areas.
especially at this level where I'm still getting my body used to the distance and
Yeah.
all that. So.
That makes sense.